Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 5, and today we're dealing with the 1972 Chevrolet K-10 Custom in B-Class Online Street Racing. So, yeah, I figured I'd try this out. It's not the most competitive of vehicles in this class, given its relatively low top speed of 142, but it's pretty quick in terms of straight line speed, in terms of pure acceleration, and yeah, it's actually not that half bad in terms of handling either. And even though we've got a fair bit of power out of it, it's still all of the power is coming from its original engine. It's just been heavily upgraded. So it's not the most sophisticated of engines, even though it's now got a supercharger whacked on top, but yeah, when it's these kind of twisting corner circuits or point-to-point races, it's actually fairly good. Just when you get up onto more straight lines and stuff, as you can see, it does start to slow down a little bit. It's got a little bump there. So yeah, I absolutely love this car in this form that I've done it in, even if it's, like I said, not the most competitive of vehicles. But it's got really rather good acceleration out of corners, and yeah, up to about 110 is reasonably sharpish. So yeah, I really do like how it drives in that regard. As you can see, I'm just keeping ahead of whoever's behind. Which is surprising given that it's only got 3.7 in terms of the handling stat, which obviously is not particularly great. And it does seem to struggle with hills as well, to be honest. So the bump. Nice bit of bump drafting across the finish line there. So yeah, it's got 460 horsepower now, and 568 pounds-feet of torque, from its now enlarged original V8 up to 7 litres from 5.7. Like I said, it's got a supercharger on top of that as well. And yeah, it now weighs 3,616 pounds, which is 320 pounds less than what it had originally as well. So yeah, it's had a fair bump over power because, you know, it's got 285 extra horsepower and 278 extra pounds-feet of torque, which is quite a fair bump in power. And obviously combine that with the reduction in weight. In fact, it's now got sport tyres that are wider up front and rear, race brakes, and I think an improved, a race transmission on it now as well. Yeah, it's all been very heavily modified. Not to the extreme by any means. You could certainly swap out a bigger engine in this and give it even more power, but no doubt it'd have to go up into another class. And I really don't think, no matter how much extra handling upgrades you put on this car, it really wouldn't prove to be all that successful in A class or above. Because yeah, you could give this slick tyres, you could give this even wider tyres up front, because it's only slightly wider tyres up front at the moment over the original tyre widths. So yeah, you could do all that, no doubt about that, but I really don't think in A classes or S1 classes would be all that competitive. So yeah, let's see if we can at least be competitive in this class. Not as good of a start there as before. Yeah, this handles far better than you'd expect it to do. And obviously it does help that it had all-wheel drive in its stock form. Just handle that power and that kind of speed constantly. I really don't think people expect a pickup truck like this, that is, you know, like 50 years old now, to be as fast as it is. So it's kind of surprising in that regard. I do like taking the more weird and more oddball cars out there to race around in, and this is definitely one of the weirder ones. the other competitor has dropped out for some reason. It's a bit of a shame. Hate it when we're in a lobby that has not very few people in it. Or not very many people even. Well, that Honda's definitely going to have more of a top speed than I have. I feel I can hold my speed relatively well through the corners. As he seems to be billowing smoke out of those front tyres. Gained a little bit on that section. Yeah, a bit of understeer there. Luckily we still have a fair bit of weight to the car to deal with any road furniture, so we're not going to be slowed down that much if we did go off like that, but obviously it's not going to really make up for the distance that we have going on here. Yeah, it's the top end speed that this really struggles with, even with the I think I put race cams on it, it's still not got enough of a top speed, and it's purely because of the way the gearing is on the all-wheel drive system that this car has in standard form. It was made more for initial acceleration and making the most of its torque for when you have a lot in the pickup bed there, so yeah, it's not really meant for top speed or geared for top speed. And even with me trying to fiddle around with the tuning, it's very difficult to get any more top speed out of this, unfortunately, with its original all-wheel drive system. I guarantee if you changed it to rear-wheel drive you'd probably get a lot more speed out of it, but then you'd sacrifice the stability of the all-wheel drive system and the launch and the initial acceleration that you get from it as well. So yeah, it's all about give and take with these kind of cars, so yeah, that's just the way it goes. So yeah, hopefully we can have a bit more of a competitive race in this third and final one, although to be honest I think we might well go into another lobby because we have had a little bit of an easy ride in this one so far. So yeah, I think we might just do 2 lobbies in this episode rather than the usual 3 or 4. See what this is really made of. So yeah, this looks like a more handling based circuit, being in the city. Yeah, we come out of the city, then loop back and come right back round to the city. Definitely have better launch than the Civic. Really got to watch out for traffic on this course because it's heavily suburbanised, as you can see, like that. Oh dear, this car's understeer does not help. But you just got to really get used to the understeer, and then you can, you know, pretty much tame it in that regard. It's all just about modifying your driving style to fit the point-to-point course that you're going to be on, because yeah, this is a lot tighter and a lot more twisty than the previous ones. We are keeping ahead of the Civic so far. The issue is that once this course opens up to the more straight line speed areas of the course, that the Civic is definitely going to be able to do more than what we can. It's going to make up as much ground as possible through these areas. Go power, 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 power. It's a very lazy engine, being the base engine that these upgrades have been based on. Downhill is perfectly fine, but when it's those uphill sections, that's where this really struggles. He had a bit of an off as well, luckily, to make up for the fact that we did. Oh no, a dreaded hill. Let's try and keep the inline line. Oh, he did that thing. He did the thing. That is the worst thing you can do on these street races, and that is hit an AI car. Giving us the win. We would have probably lost though if he hadn't have done that, because like I said, that Civic definitely has the top speed over us and probably better acceleration after 110. But yeah, we got the win finally in that one by just over 2 seconds as well, which means we clinched the championship overall. So yeah, I guarantee that guy driving that Civic was not expecting the Chevy pickup truck from 50 years ago to do as well as it did there. So yeah, let's move on to the next lobby, and hopefully we'll be more populated in there. So yeah, a quick look at the stats before we get into that second lobby. So yeah, as you can see, the acceleration, launch, braking and off-road capability are all pretty good. Obviously the off-road capability is not really going to matter for this for these street races, but obviously if at the odd occasion that I do go off-roading by accident, it's nice to know that I can and handle it at the same time. Handling wise, yeah, it's a little bit better than that stat would have you believe, but obviously it does have the understeer issues, and then that 5.1 speed really is representative of what this car can do, which, yeah, like I said, it's only 142 miles an hour, which obviously isn't particularly great, but it's decent enough. And there probably are cars on this, you know, in these lobbies that can't even do that. So yeah, and there are obviously some muscle cars from the same period as this that couldn't even do 130. So yeah, if we come across any of those that haven't been, you know, heavily upgraded to get into this class, especially in terms of their engine output, then yeah, we might well do better than those. So yeah, we're up against the Civic again, and it looks like a 370Z, no, 350Z even, but the Fair Lady version. So yeah, that packs quite a punch. It's got, what, 270-ish horsepower thereabouts. So a lot more than what we had standard, but a lot less than what we have now. Learn from the mistakes of the last time we were here. Pretty sure this was the last race, previous lobby. Yeah, we've not hit any walls this time. Although the likelihood of that Civic hitting another car right towards the end is unlikely. He just needs to bide his time really and just keep up with us, and then he can overtake us when he gets to the properly straight part. So yeah, we've just got to try and keep ahead as much as possible. Come on. We are pulling out a little bit of a lead. He's disappearing slightly to the bottom of the map, but yeah, obviously the longer the straight gets, the closer he's going to get. Luckily this is a downhill section, so we can gain some speed. It's an uphill section that is coming up, that is a big worry. Win again for the commercial vehicles. Oopsie daisy. Oh, the Civic went wide again on that corner. Guess we all have our worst corners, and that's his version of that. We've all got our own versions. Yeah, this is the slow part for this truck. It really does not like the hills. Yeah, it's not likely for him to hit another car, is it? No, there is no traffic in fact on this side of the road, so even less likely in that regard, but yeah. I'm sure he's glad that he eventually got past us, but we held the race there for a good 90% of the race there, so yeah, I am pleased that we held off the Civic for that long, but yeah, the slovenly kind of, you know, slow acceleration once you get past 110 in this is obviously the weak end of this vehicle. So, but if we have more courses that have the, you know, the twisting corners and, you know, the more, you know, it's more initial acceleration based, then that's where we are obviously better. But yeah, the Civic certainly earned that because it was able to keep up with us enough to, you know, eventually get overtake us. So yeah, fully deserved for the Civic, but the Nissan was far behind. So yeah, that's fine by me. So yeah, this can now do 0 to 60 in 4.423 seconds, 0 to 109.533 seconds, and going to a top speed of, like I said, 142 miles an hour. So yeah, that's more than twice as good in, well, it's actually pretty much 2.5 times as good as what the car could do originally to 60. And yeah, you're talking about near enough 5 times as good in terms of 0 to 100 speed. So yeah, that is great, and it's about 41 mile an hour quicker at the top end. So yeah, right, we've got the Holden Torana now. That's a pretty sharpish vehicle in a straight line. It doesn't typically have the best at handling, but then again it depends on the type of build that they've gone for. They've gone for a more balanced build or more of a straight line one. Goes speed freak of a car, but does not have the handling nowhere near as much as we do, that's for sure, which probably surprised that car. Bit of sand off-roading, you can take it, it's got that off-road capability we were talking about earlier. More goddamn hills. Well, I guess every car has its nemesis, and hills are my nemesis in this. Some people had a major off there. Yeah, I guess it just goes to prove that a car like this might on the surface look pretty useless in some regards, but it just goes to show that the oddball vehicles can be usable, can be competitive, if done in the right way. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job with upgrading this, to be honest, even outside of the slow acceleration once I get past 110 or so. Come on, little donkey, keep up, because there are some corners coming up and we can probably make up time there, but again it is a a hill section, and we hate the hill sections. Yeah, we really do. We're not really gaining speed there. Sorry if you can hear things in the background. Stupid dogs exist. Right, yeah, we've messed up there, but yeah, we were never going to gain anyway, so... But again, we held off that Civic for quite some time. And we've done better than the Holden Torana, which, as you saw, initially had straight line speed, but just really wasn't able to keep up with me through the corners, so... Yeah, I'm pleased with that. In fact, the Holden Torana has not even come in third, so... Yeah. Pure power does not necessarily equal a successful winner, so yeah. Alright, let's see if we can at least get second in the next race. I'll be happy with that, given, you know, this is hardly the OG kind of car to use on this game. So yeah, it's had a whole host of other upgrades. Obviously it's had some weight knocked out of it. Like I said, it's got the sport tyres up front and in the, well, sport tyres all round, but fully wide tyres at the rear and slightly wider at the front. It's still got its standard suspension, surprisingly enough, but you can upgrade it with the off-road suspension, but that obviously doesn't make it any better in terms of handling, just gives it some extra ride height to go off-road, so I've not given it that. It's got a race driveline, it's got a race clutch, it's got a slightly improved gearbox. I think it might have a race flywheel, can't quite remember. But yeah, the suspension is pretty much the same as it was originally, so yeah, it is surprising that it can deal with all that extra horsepower and torque, along with the extra acceleration. Extra acceleration and speed, whilst, you know, not falling over or being completely undrivable. So that is surprising. Holden, will he be able to handle the thing lightly? Well, because of the Holden crashing into one of the AI cars, it seems to have caused a little bit of a pile behind us, and he's certainly not going to be able to keep around those corners. Come on. What's behind us? I think it's a Civic again. No surprise there then. Doing the cheatsy doodle move. I'll block him so he doesn't gain any advantage from doing that. I hate it when people do that. This isn't the only course, straight line, it's a point-to-point race, sorry, that you can do that on, and it's really annoying that that exploit is still something that can be exploited by people, but there we go. Karma is a bitch though, because he's failed miserably on that corner. So there we go. It's the price you pay for cheating, I guess. Hills again. Come on, get up it. Oopsie, understeered into that Bronco, I think it was. But they seem to have had an accident. We're going to go for a victory here. Yes. A win for the commercial vehicles. So yeah, this is why I like choosing these kind of cars for these online races. Not guaranteed to be a win, but when you get one, it's really satisfying, and that's why I like taking out the lesser used vehicles out there. That's why I like my EVs so much. They're not heavily used by others, but they can get a win when they need, at times, should I say. and they are at least fun to drive, like this Chevrolet K-10 is fun to drive. So yeah, there we go. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. Hope you've had as much satisfaction as I have from seeing a 50-year-old pickup truck getting wins and getting podiums. And yeah, that won't really change the top end result in terms of the championship, because there were 8 points between me and the Civic, and I think I only get a 4-point lead in this. So yeah, there'll be 4 points in between us. So yeah, but still, a 50-year-old pickup truck has come second overall and not by a huge margin behind first. So yeah, there we go. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and yeah, I hope this makes you realise that, you know, less than likely competitive vehicles can also still be fun and competitive in their own rights. But nonetheless, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.